Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Creative Brief. And this episode will be very different from the previous episode because it's really less going to be about creating images. Rather, it's going to be about our mentality, our ethics towards choosing concept art as a career. Now, so this is things I wish I knew early when starting out in concept art. So let's start with number 1. So critiques and comments. So first of all, concept artwork is really going to be about the comments all along. So when I was just someone posting art online with friends, I already knew that concept artwork will involve a lot of critiquing and revisions. However, I have to be honest that it was quite surreal to receive the same set of comments I received online from forums, Facebook groups, Discord servers from my art directors or my team lead. It was then that I fully realized that the job is indeed all about applying comments to iterate. The only difference is it's coming from actual professionals and not just someone that you may not necessarily know if are they really professionals or are they just someone who wants concept art as a passion. So what am I saying? So if you want to do concept artwork, you can already do so by following critiques from your trusted professionals or friends. So if you don't have like professionals who can mentor you because they're very busy, you can definitely just choose your trusted friend that they may not necessarily be professional, but again, the focus here is you should apply the comments without question. So, of course, considering you trust them and sincerely try to understand the value of the critique. So, our work as artists is to trust the judgment of our creative directors and art directors without question, that they just want to help us see the maximum potential of our ideas. So, this doesn't necessarily mean that the art directors are discrediting your ability to know what a good art means. However, think of it this way, right? So, in the battlefield, you are a soldier, and a soldier will always have a commanding officer. Now, when a commanding officer tells you to do something in the middle of war, most often than not, a soldier is not really going to question the directive of the commanding officer because the soldier have to trust that his commanding officer has an overall view of what's going on. So you look at it that way. Your art director has a much more overall view of what a good concept would mean, and you just need to trust them by that fact. And by doing that, you will be an effective concept artist. Of course, there will always be times that you get to share your thoughts onto something, but you have to remember that there is a process in this kind of work. It's not so much that the process or the system is being bureaucratic. However, this is industry standard work. There's an art director and there's a concept artist, and that has always been the way since the beginning of this industry. Okay, so now that's that. Apply comments regardless of what you think of it. You know what? Eventually, you're gonna see the value once the comment has materialized in your piece. And otherwise, if you still don't see the value of it, just trust the fact that your art director just wants the best of the potential of your idea. Okay, next. I'm gonna drink a water. I'm sorry. Okay, so number 2, know your terms. So the terms that I'm going to be discussing are just terms that are true in my experience and may not necessarily be the terms that other professionals are using, but this has helped me while I was working as a concept artist. Okay, so execution of design versus execution of an image. This is very important compared to just, identifying an image or a concept as concept art versus illustration art. So, and you'll know eventually what I mean. So, execution of design means finding and generating ideas from your visual library, inspiration, and of course, studies. We're not making art at this stage yet. We're just trying to put a pin on something that we don't know. Right. Execution of design can be napkin sketches, rough silhouettes, and of course, depending on the art department you're working with, this can be personal and not necessarily needed to be shown to your art director. So, execution of design means you're just trying to find something, okay? You're just trying to find something within you. Of course, you have to puke them out as sketches so that you can actually see the materialization of your ideas. Okay, so that's execution of design. So, execution of an image talks about the methods of, we're going to use to showcase the maximum potential of the idea. Of course, at this point, you already have an idea and you now want to create an illustration out of your idea. Say, for example, you found the best thumbnail that fits for you and now you're going to execute it as a character illustration, right? Now, so perhaps, are we going to paint it? Are we going to draw it? Are we going to photo bash or 3D bash? Or are we going to use specific brushes? So basically, execution of an image is purely technique. What art style, right? Those type of questions. So, and again, these are just my terms that have helped me clear my own thoughts when tackling a design. However, sometimes people or others would use the alternative terms as well. Like for example, execution of design would means just design for others, like designing, like they're just finding the design via rough drawings. So for them, they just call it designing. And perhaps others definition of execution of an image would just mean execution. Execution means making final image of an established idea. So some would rather go that route, but again, I tend to be more specific in my own. So for me, it's about execution of design or execution of an image. So yeah, that's number 2, know your terms. So next, this is a very common question that beginners tend to ask, especially if they really want to compete on the now evolving way of creating concept art, and that is, how much paint or photo bash should I do with an image versus how much 3D should I involve with my image? So actually, when you are already in the work, that's actually the wrong question. The right question is, what will it take to achieve the maximum potential of my design or my idea? So if you're the type of artist who can execute your idea efficiently while still holding top quality work in 3D, then feel free to do your work in 3D 100%. Otherwise, if you're achieving the same industry standard with pure 3D elements, you can do that as well. Okay? While most studios nowadays already require that you at least know a single 3D software, concept artwork is still going to be revolving around creating 2D images, at least at this point in time. Also, concept art will be a design-intrinsic job. It doesn't really care what it took you to achieve your results, as long as you keep showing them in your work, right? So, meaning, as long as you're efficiently generating multiple ideas in the most optimized time as possible, then don't worry about whether or not you use 3D, or whether or not you photo bash, or whether or not you approach it in 2D paint. As long as you're generating ideas, you will be as competitive as the next professional concept artist. But take note, I'm not saying also that you should ignore the new trends. However, at this point, you don't necessarily need to adapt quickly. Awareness is enough at this point. Say, for example, AI art, right? Everyone is talking about AI art, but you don't necessarily need to apply that immediately with your work. If you know it's just going to be destructive, it's going to ruin your flow. Again, at this point, perhaps you can try to find ways to implement AI, but again, it's not compulsory. Awareness is the only thing you need to have right now. If you can just generate ideas without the help of 3D AI or photo bashing. You're good as you are. All right. So that's that. So don't ask how much paint, don't ask how much 3D. Rather, the right question is, what will it take for you to reach the maximum potential of your design? Focus on that question rather than the technique. Okay, next. Now that's number 3. Again, let me drink my water here. So again, I'm talking fast because I find my previous videos quite slow, and with the attention span nowadays going shorter and shorter by the, I don't know, I need to catch your attention. So next, design. Next is design thought versus design generation. So being an effective and efficient artist in the concept art team means being able to generate multiple design in a short amount of time possible. It don't absolutely mean, artists are obliged to prioritize quantity over quality. However, one should be able to showcase multiple variety and alterations of an idea. An artist should be able to break and approach a design in as many angles as possible. On the other hand, while dedicating a lot of thought on a design is ideal, right? In practical work, however, it can be time-consuming to focus on enriching a singular idea alone, only to find out that you're already down 4 hours in the clock, yet you only have one idea to show for in a half day's work. And that's not very efficient. When I was working in as a concept artist, you can just see the people that you will be working with, the caliber and their ability to generate designs. I'm actually in shock. I'm shocked actually, and realize how much I need to catch up on. So going back, the design doesn't really need to make sense all the time. So while we take inspiration from reality and science of things, you have to remind ourselves that we're actually creating fictional stuff. At least in this industry, we're creating products for entertainment, not National Geographic documentary. Okay? Practice putting as much for thought on canvas without thinking too much about it. Now, I'm not talking that, you just put alien designs there and you're disregarding the design brief. That's not what I'm talking about. However, the reason why enriching a singular idea don't work practically because of the following idea generation stages. And these stages is widely used in the industry. And I'm going to start by naming these stages. So the first stage is exploration. So exploration means putting everything of your thought on the canvas. The good, the bad, the safest, the craziest. You highlight variety in this stage, openness, rawness of your ideas. This in turn breeds new ideas as you struggle through the process. So exploration is a very crucial part because this is the stage wherein you just, expose everything. The worst, the bad. And again, depending on the art department, this might be something that you need to show to your art director. The next stage is cherry picking. So cherry picking is evaluating on your ideas. You'll remove the ones you don't like and choose at least 3 to 5 designs depending on your deliverables. Then submit to your team lead or your art director. So now, the next stage is, choosing your superstar and iterating on them. So first of all, just because these designs are your superstar designs, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be your team lead superstar design as well. So this will definitely mean that even though you already arrived with your most decent design, you're still going to iterate on top of them once your AD finds things that can improve on. And this stage alone already proves that singular idea doesn't work if your art department is using this kind of stages and pipeline. And again, I remind you that this is widely used in the industry and there's no way out of this. And make no mistake, there are instances wherein you'll be asked to generate one beautiful image right off the bat, but it's very rare. And usually this type of jobs gets outsourced to industry veterans, and we're talking about concept artists that are older than time, right? um, Artists are very specialized, like for example, I don't remember the name of the concept artist, but his expertise is just, creating spaceships, and he has a background in aviation design, background in industrial design, background in illustration. These people are very specialized. Therefore, it's more likely that they will be the ones in charge with, creating design for that specific task alone, right? So, but yeah, so remember, you gotta have the balance of putting just enough design thought and prioritize showing multiple variations to be competitive in this type of work. All right, so that's that. So that's design thought versus design generation. And again, we have to generate as much design to be efficient in practical work scenario. Okay. Next, this is very important, and I'm talking about inspiration. So, inspiration comes. Oh, wait a minute. We're already at number 5. Okay. I'm sorry about that. So, inspiration, number 5. Inspiration comes from within, not from external forces. And trust me, this is something that I had to work on myself, like almost, on a daily basis. And even up till now, I still, struggle with myself on this. So while we can be inspired from movies, games, literature, or our environment, we cannot depend our work from pure inspiration. Okay, remember that. We need to get used with finding the inspiration amidst the dullness, amidst being demotivated, amidst the chaos of trying to find that, that great design. But most importantly, we need to be inspired out of nothing. I'm gonna say that again. We need to get used to being inspired out from nothing. So instead of using our inspiration as drivers to create our best ideas, let's try to be driven by our curiosity to find out what we're capable of doing when we're uninspired, right? Usually, most often than not, you will always find a design you like. But first, we have to get used to finding the design that we don't like first. Okay, so I'm not sure what every concept artist out there's method is, but this is what I usually do. The first that I'm gonna do is I have this like warm-up stage, right? It's like, so my warm-up stage is getting rid of generic and ideas that sucks. Okay, so treat this stage as a doodle ground. While yes, we are trying to find designs, don't rush yourself by expecting too much with the next doodle you're gonna make. So think like your ideas is a continuous flowing stream. You don't fight it, you just let it flow. You just sketch things, it doesn't necessarily have to mean something. So from the worst to the most generic, eventually you won't notice it, but you'll unconsciously be refining and generating more along the way until you arrive with numerous possibilities. Okay, so that's the first thing I do, getting rid of the generic, the most sucky, the safest, and the craziest, just, putting it out there. Now, next, once you have already generated enough designs, is the second stage, which is getting comfortable, right? Take note, you're working on possibilities. Practice keeping the suggestibility even with the designs that you're most comfortable with. Because at this point, you may already have, 3 to 5 designs. But again, please, even though you've already find your great designs, if you think that you still have time, don't stop there. Okay, this way, while you like the design as it is, you keep an open mind that there will always be something better. You will naturally proceed on making another. Okay. Now, the third stage may not be necessary for others, but this is my cooling down stage. So, like an exercise warm up, I get into a habit of doing cool down sketches as well. This is to acknowledge that I'm already finishing on the batch that I will submit. The cool down sketches I'm doing are just something to remind myself that I'm already in the flow of openness. In short, I'm in the zone, right? It's like a formality that I'm closing a stage of my design process, recognizing I found the designs I need, you know. So again, this, the third stage is just something that I'm fond of doing, and honestly, you're gonna be surprised that even though you already found your design, you still find some interesting stuff in your cool down sketches. So yeah, so that is number 5. All right, that's number 5. Okay, now we're already at number 6. So number 6, ask help, involve your team lead or art director as much as possible. Be collaborative and grow your skills and grow a lasting good impression. Now, I know it's quite, it sounds like, I don't know, you're trying to be a kiss ass of your superior, but I mean, trust me, that's not what I mean. And I'm gonna talk about detailing it further. So it's not only about art. Okay, remember that. As a concept artist, once you're already in the position, it's not really going to be about art alone. You're in an art department. Therefore, you should practice to involve the team in as many ways you can. While the ideal scenario for a team lead or an art director is being able to trust their artists, their own work, art director's job is to mentor and coach as well. This is your time to build a productive and genuine relationship through maximizing their knowledge of the craft, right? So, concept art is already a tough job to begin with. Let's admit that. The last thing you want is to feel that you're alone in your design endeavor. So you don't necessarily need, of course, to bug your AD every 15 minutes to review your work. However, share them your thoughts because, like for example, at the early stage, like you're handed a design brief, okay, do this. While you're at it, share them your thoughts about your challenges and your confidences, of course. In return, they will share theirs, what's perhaps when you're already deeper in the conversation, you'll realize that they're also sharing you their courages and their flaws of, the current design brief, and most likely share a tip or two and, guide you efficiently in your design problem. So also, an art director vouching for your ethics, quality work, and team playerness is much more invaluable than just showing a body of art you've worked on from your previous company. So at that point, like for example, if you left your company and proceeded in another studio, imagine putting that art director's name in your resume, and then once that art director is being called by that company, imagine them vouching for your good qualities. That's very invaluable. That's much more invaluable than the art you're gonna show them, honestly. Because while concept art definitely means about showing great work, it also is a job. Remember that. And a job means working with other people. And to be vouched that you're a team player and that you're not an asshole, that's already a huge plus of you getting the gate open for that new studio. But of course, please remember that you have to do this with sincerity and utmost genuinity. You want to build real relationship. You don't want just, add contact references in your resume. That's not the point. Because, it's not being discussed a lot in the industry. It's not being talked about that much, but you really need to have great relationship with people, not just with friends. I know the most ideal scenario of an artist would probably just leave me alone with my work and I'll do great images for you. But actually, if you just take the effort to approach your colleagues, your art director, and then build a conscious effort that you wanna build genuine relationship, you'll realize that, there's more in this industry than art. There's actually real people. I don't like, some would say that you just build a network of artists, but honestly, I don't like to say that. I would rather say build a healthy circle of like-minded people, because these are the same people that you're gonna say your difficulties with. These are also the same people that are going to say, yes, yes, Andrew, you're not the only one who's feeling that. I'm also going through that same challenge. And that's the best scenario to be in a circle like that, if you ask me. I know it's really great to be surrounded by great artists, but I'd rather be surrounded with people who truly cares about my work and who truly cares about where I am in my concept art career. So, yeah. And that's actually my final tip. So we still have a lot of time, so I'm just gonna take this time to thank everyone if you're already here at this part of the video. So thank you so much for sticking through. I know, again, I said at the beginning that I try to speak fast in this specific episode because I also noticed myself that I'm very slow and I do a lot of stutters and pauses, and again, I apologize for that. So promise you that, if also this is something you find I'm talking fast, please tell me that this is something that I should also minimize in the next videos. But again, I'm trying to find everyone's again, I'm trying to catch everyone's attention span nowadays in this day and age. So hopefully, everyone likes my content, and then, I'll try to make more and more content nowadays so that I can get a hang of this, and then hopefully you're going to be in the next episode. Thank you so much, and then this is Andrew signing out.